What's up, guys? It's Jesse Simon, and I'm going to be going over the Unit 6 discussion. And the question is how racial tropes affect the way that education sees non white people, and if media portrayals of non white people affect the way we see them in society. And of course, I do believe that racism has been influencing how people perceive people of color, which is also affected schools. The media frequently promotes harmful ideas, portraying black people as criminals, underachievers, and burdens, which influences how teachers and policymakers, and non-white students perceive them. And according to lecture 6.4, it states private corporations convince communities, especially communities with at-risk students, that a charter school is a better alternative to the public school system. And this message basically implies that public schools, that are attended by students of color are beyond saving, and it also reinforces this stereotype that black and brown children cannot succeed unless they're placed in a stricter and more controlled environment with more security and police around the schools. And that alone speaks volumes about how racial stereotypes influence educational choices. Another example I have is from the reading Dirty Dozen. The tactics used by charter schools, such as lottery interviews and even home inspections, to cherry pick students who are the easiest to teach. This frequently excludes English language learners, students with disabilities, and low-income students, all who are disproportionately non-white. And as a result, public schools remain underfunded, undersourced, and overcrowded with students who are already marginalized. And when these schools struggle, society blames the students and not the system. So, pretty messed up situation, and the students have no choice in this, and kind of forced into this kind of system, and we're not focusing as much on the educational system. And then the media at the same time reinforces these racially based patterns of blame and neglect, and rarely depicts the non-white students as gifted and capable leaders, and are often portrayed as troublemakers, dropouts, or potential criminals instead. And obviously, when that image becomes the norm, schools start to treat these students in a way that lowers expectations and increases surveillance and security, and which pushes them out through harsh discipline or a lack of support. And all of this, in conclusion, shows that people think that being white is normal and successful, and that everything else is other than that. It's harder to reach success. People don't always say this out loud, but it's clear to which who gets the money and who gets in trouble. So my question for the class is if you guys personally notice these subtle forms of bias in how students are treated and or supported, disciplined in schools, and how do you think the media images shape your assumptions, consciously or unconsciously? And yeah, leave that in the comments. Thanks for watching.